This week we'll be talking about how Canada Grand Prix will be. 2 weeks ago we had a Grand Prix in Spain and we had the McLaren. In spite of the technical directives adjustment on the front wing, they still came up triumphant. They came up even better. They're like, hey guys, we are still here. That shows they have the pace, they have the car. Ferrari came third, they got lucky. But the Mercedes now should know where they are because it looks like the Mercedes needs a rebound. They had a very disastrous triple header. 2 engine issues from the Mercedes engine and one from a customer engine. The McLaren had not had one. They're not really tuning up their engine. They're enjoying their engine season. So it's been a wonderful thing with McLaren. So how did it go down in Spain? They had a good start from McLaren. Verstappen had a good catch up, was able to jump. The McLaren got in between. Norris fought back, got the second position. Safety car towards the end. We had Verstappen going on hard tires because that's the only choice they had. Well, I believe the team should have left him there. He made a mistake because the tires were cold. Charles Leclerc got close to him, bumped into him, angered Max Verstappen. On turn one, Max Verstappen was so furious. He bumped into George Russell, got a 10-second penalty. Fortunately, was not given a black flag. Relegated back to 10th position and 3 penalty points that put him on 11 points, which means he's 1 point away from being penalized. And I think Red Bull are trying to find a replacement for him in case he misses a race. That is, if he gets a ban. And they're looking at Alfred Lindblad, the British Swedish sensation, and also looking at him training against next year, get him into the Red Bull seat. I hope Yuki Tsunoda will be able to finish the season with RB, and I hope Isaac Hajar will not get pressured to move into the RB seat. Because that seat is a cost seat, so he needs to just focus on what he's doing. Now, what do we expect in Canada? Canada has a lot of long straight curves, high speed corners, some small slow speed corners, and the wall of champions, which means you can roll or dabble into walls on high speed. Also, Canada has some impressive season in which you can have rain and you can have it dry. Anything can happen in Canada. We've seen races in the past years that have been so interesting in Canada. It's a beautiful racing season. You don't want to miss it. How will the race pan out? McLaren are still in front, clearly. McLaren still look like the favorite of the season. They have the car, they have the potentials. Ferrari are showing hands, but Ferrari are still far off. The second best team for now is still the Red Bull. Ferrari should be the second best team, but they cannot get on top of the car. That is why Red Bull still looks miles ahead of them. Ferrari looks like third best team, but on paper they look like the third best team, but in the competition they are the second best team. Because they're able to peep Red Bull and Mercedes. Why did this happen? Mercedes have not known where they really belong because they're fighting a battle in which they thought they are good, but because Ferrari have not really gotten their pace, and also Red Bull have only one driver and a cost seat. That is why they are where they are. There is a wildfire in Canada. The wildfire smoke is looking like it spread to Montreal, but the FIA said the race will go on as they can contain it and it will not affect the drivers. That looks like settled, but few teams will bring upgrades. It will be the best team because the biggest upgrade Ferrari should be bringing should be 2 races from now. Red Bull will bring chunks. Mercedes should bring chunks. They have a whole week to prepare. Should McLaren bring upgrades? I'm not sure because McLaren look like the class of the team. They will bring some new rear wings to suit the track. Other teams would bring some things to suit the track, but not much upgrades, I believe. So it's now raw speed, raw pace that will determine where those teams are going to. The tire, since the inception of the C6 tire in Monaco, we've not really had C6 tire really perform up to par. So I think this weekend we should be having C2 to C4. That is the second hardest range of tire. The C2 should be the hard, the C3 should be the medium, and the C4 should be the softest because we are possibly going to have a 2-stop in the 70-lap race in Canada. But the tire strategy will be different. We don't know how these guys will set up the tires, but I know the traction on that track is high, about 4. It's a high-speed circuit, so we're going to have a lot of long straights, DRS. There are lots of overtaking opportunities, so it's going to be very interesting. On Friday, we have an overcast condition throughout the day with temperature from 20 degrees. Chances of precipitation is 10%. On Saturday, which is the FP3 and qualifying, precipitation is 20%. So there might be no chance of rain, but the temperature will be 20 degrees. On Sunday, it will be partly cloudy with minimal chances of rain. The highest temperature will be 20 degrees with chance of precipitation of 25%. So it's looking like there will be less rain probably in Canada, and there might be probability of Lance Stroll joining us back after his brouhaha with his team, Spanish GP. I think we should see him in Canada performing. Now, with loads of questions to be asked in Canada, it's going to look very interesting if Oscar Piastri can continue winning, because it's looking like a challenge between Oscar Piastri and his teammate Lando Norris, with Max Verstappen 49 points adrift because of what happened in Spain. It's going to look like a beautiful race, I believe. If the McLaren boys can keep giving us some good races, they can give us some good competition now. It's going to be very interesting, and probability of Max Verstappen fighting back, we might see. Now, will he be able to fight back without any incurring pain or incurring havoc on other cars? Max Verstappen is a very, very interesting driver. He does everything to make sure he performs well. Let's see what the version of Max Verstappen we are going to get in Canada. I hope we get a better version of him that makes it right. This is a track that really suits the Mercedes and Red Bull. Let's see how Ferrari will fare, and McLaren with their newfound speed and glory, because they love long straight, and it's one of the clockwise track of the season. Now, we've had races held in Canada, Montreal 59 times. The only time we've really missed the race was 2020 and 2021, and that was due to COVID-19. But since it's first held in 1961 and much races come in 1969, it has flown through the calendar except for 2020 and 2021. It has held races 59 times. A lot of iterations have been made in 2000 and 2008, 2010, 2019. Few iterations were made to the track. From 2020 to presently, another iteration were made to the track, which makes it more interesting. Drivers with most wins on that track still remains Michael Schumacher and Lewis Hamilton, 7 wins each. That's one of the most successful tracks for Lewis Hamilton. If he can bring the Ferrari to win this weekend, which is on the probability, that would be 8 wins. That's massive for him. Constructor with the most wins is Ferrari with 14 wins. Ferrari wins this weekend with any of their 2 drivers. That would be 15 wins for them in Canada. The race circuit is 4.361 kilometers. That's a 2.709 miles. Race length of 305, 270 kilometers. That's a 189,694 miles. 70 lap race, 2 pit stop. I expect. I'm not sure any driver can do a 1 stop. 2 pit stop at least. Last year we had Mercedes doing a beautiful job to get a pole position with George Russell, and the race ending with Max Verstappen winning the race, Lando Norris second, and George Russell third. Lewis Hamilton getting the fastest lap of the race in Canada. Let me run you back 2024. The battle between the Mercedes close to the end of the race, but Lewis Hamilton gave that race a fight, but Max Verstappen was just out of this world. The car was fast. It was fast. Lando Norris put him under pressure. Oscar Piastri gave one of his best performances, but it was not enough. Fernando Alonso, great job. The 2 Renaults getting decent points, even though they are not in sync. The RB of Daniel Ricciardo getting points ahead of Sergio Perez that had to retire, and Yuki Tsunoda that retired due to accident. 2023, we had Max Verstappen winning the race there, Alonso second, Hamilton third. That year, we had the most expensive podium in F1 with Andre Newey on the podium. If you remember 2019, with Hamilton winning the race, himself and Sebastian Vettel adding some pretty little skirmishes around the race. Sebastian Vettel second. When Lewis Hamilton felt Sebastian Vettel was going to put him in the wall, but Sebastian Vettel said he lost the car, was trying to gain the car, but he didn't know he was putting Lewis Hamilton in the wall. Well, Lewis Hamilton won the race second, but inherited the first position because Sebastian Vettel was given a 5-second penalty. Charles Leclerc third, Valtteri Bottas fourth, Max Verstappen fifth in 2019. 2020 there was no race. 2022 there was a race, but this weekend will be a different weekend with McLaren leading the charge. Let's hope we have a decent race and a decent weekend with less skirmishes and Red Bull being straighted. There had been a lot of questions around their team principal, that is in the person of Chris Horner and his role in Red Bull. He has lost faith and they are going to dismiss him. We don't know if that is true. How will the Canada race be? When we get to Canada, we'll see that. But you know what? Meet me in Canada. Let's see how interesting it will be. I love you guys. Bye.